However, indeed, those years that they fought against America truly created some, let's say, shared experience with many countries that they invested for killing Americans alongside the Taliban.
What about China? I know China is, when the withdrawal happened, China was there immediately to do negotiations
Yes.
in regards to some of the things called like lithium mines.
Yeah.
They're obviously very interested in with the U.S. Importing all the green energy supplies from there. Do you have any knowledge of China becoming an ally with Taliban or any of the other terrorist organizations?
Well, with Chinese, I'm very much disappointed with the sort of policies they're having. In my opinion, they're seeing Taliban as an alternative to presence of NATO in Afghanistan. Even if they think Taliban are bad, but they see the presence of NATO in Afghanistan worse. So that's one aspect in terms of those geopolitical games. Secondly, of course, these resources of Afghanistan, which our position is very clear. Any country that are trying to negotiate with Taliban or deal with Taliban to get rights of exploiting these mines and these treasures of Afghanistan, this is called theft. And we do not support it. And they will be held accountable by the legitimate government of Afghanistan. If they want to have a legitimate relationship with Afghanistan, they need to help for a legitimate government to come in power. The Taliban are not legitimate. And it is very unfortunate that their policies regarding Afghanistan, it has been very shallow. Their strategy has been very shallow. It's very one-sided, and they have been only thinking about the Taliban and engaging with them. And they are seeing Afghanistan as a land that they can get their hands on the mines or treasures of Afghanistan. It's theft.
Are you seeing a lot of Chinese infrastructure being built?
No, I don't see a lot of infrastructure in Afghanistan, but I see a lot of activity in prisons. And once again, it's a shame that China should know in the absence of a legitimate government that is not acceptable.
Let's move into the withdrawal of U.S. and NATO troops. Where were you when that happened?
I was in Kabul.
You were in Kabul?
I was in Kabul, yes.
Did you have any warning that that was coming?
I knew it for a couple of years before it happened. I knew that Afghanistan is on the verge of collapse because all the signs is indicating that such tragedy would happen. Shawn, unfortunately, the thing is that it was sometimes when I'm hearing from Secretary of Defense to others, they're saying that it was a surprise. I'm shocked. It was not a surprise. It was clear as a day that it was coming. And if nobody else, which I'm sure they did, I personally warned Mr. Khalilzad, the U.S. Embassy, some presidents and officials which I met in Europe, and also regional players and countries. I told them specifically that all the signs that indicates that Afghanistan is going to collapse. It is tragic, it is devastating, it will be a huge blow to everything we achieved for the past 20 years, all those sacrifices we made and we gave with blood and sweat and treasure. It will be devastating. Please pay attention. This peace process that you're going forward with, it is not a peace process. This is handing over Afghanistan to the terrorism. The peace process is unconditional. The withdrawal is unconditional. And nothing is in the right place, and the Taliban are just waiting to take over. And everything so far has been doing, it demoralized everything else. The best thing, at least if you wanted to leave, I told this specifically to Mr. Khalilzad, if you guys wanted to leave, If you guys wanted to leave people of Afghanistan behind, very well then, at least do not elevate our enemy. Do not demoralize us with your negotiation with them. Just leave. It's okay. We fought before all alone, like my father. We'll fight again. However, with what you do, you're holding our hands tight and you elevate them. And I'm sure one day you will blame us. And that's exactly what happened.
That's enraging. That's enraging. Did you have, were you previous to the date that we withdrew?
I knew that it is happening on September, 1st of September. I was aware when it was announced, but before that I didn't know about the exact dates. Yeah. But I knew in my heart that 2021 was a devastating year for people of Afghanistan.
It's my understanding that France offered you an extraction to go to France during that withdrawal.
Yes.
Why didn't you take that?
Not just France, many countries they offered. Well, I remember the faces that I looked at, those eyes and faces, and told them about freedom, about my father, about democracy, about human rights, about women's rights, about fighting terrorism. How could I just leave them after all those things I was preaching to them? And what would I do outside? I gave it a very hard thought nights before the collapse, and I knew it would happen. And just like my father, I was prepared to give the ultimate sacrifice. To be very frank, because I knew how everything is completely gone and how Taliban will be left with billions of dollars of equipment. And at the end, it will be a valley against basically a country. And all odds would be pointing out to our demise and our death. I just didn't want to be alive to see my country go this path. And, but unfortunately, that didn't happen. And I was alive, and I get to see what happened, which is heartbreaking, and a much bigger pain to me than death occurred to me, which is witnessing my country going to this situation. And but in my opinion, because I believe I am a man of God and I believe in God, I believe that He kept us alive for a reason. And that's why ever since my purpose is to retake my country and bring back the integrity that has been taken from my country.
I believe that too. I believe
Thank
that
you.
too. Can we go into some of the things that happened right after the withdrawal? Because Americans only saw, which was disastrous enough as it is, they only saw they only saw snippets of the withdrawal. They saw the Afghans falling from the C-17 planes, trying to latch on. They saw Americans that were blown up at Abbey Gate.
Yeah.
They saw babies being killed on razor wire fences.
Yeah.
They saw people giving up their kids, just trying to get their kids to safety.
Yes.
What we didn't see, and what nobody really knows about, is what happened after the cameras left. What happened after the U.S. was gone? Can you go into that a little bit?
Well, 4 things happened, Shawn.